Live from the chicken wing capital of the world, Buffalo, New York. You're listening to the Childcare Bridge podcast, your source for the best tips, tools, and tactics on how to market and grow your childcare center, ensuring total domination. Total domination. This is the Childcare Bridge, and this is your host, Michael Tasner.
In today's episode of the Childcare Bridge, I want to give you a couple of things that you can do during the less busy time. So at the time of recording, February 2026, this tends to be a little bit of the slower time in the childcare universe. Now, depending on where your center is located, there's always going to be the transient people that are kind of coming and going, and infants coming in and typically not going. So you're always going to have those ebbs and flows with enrollment, but historically the next couple of months are a little bit slower. And one of the challenges that I often start to see with center owners is they start to panic a little bit. They start to get nervous that they're not getting those big influxes of enrollments that they're potentially used to. So I want to walk through a couple things that you can do now to continue to advance your mission and continue just to improve things across the boards. So the first thing that I want you to do is to do a full-blown reactivation campaign. In this reactivation campaign, the whole objective is to shake some enrollments loose. What often ends up happening, and I can give you all the data on it, you're never on your A game of perfect lead follow-up. There's a family that maybe fills out a tour request form and you don't get back to them. You kind of forget about it. Or a family that you spoke to at an event, or a walk-in, or people that took tours that didn't end up enrolling, that you just moved on and you started kind of getting with the busy season of everything, that just life and just all your day-to-day stuff. And unfortunately, leads and potential enrollments fall through the cracks every single day. I see it at almost every center that we work with. You can never get back to leads fast enough. You can never have enough follow-up opportunities. Like, your family's attention is always diverted into different things, so there can never be enough. So this lead reactivation consists of 4 different parts. It used to be 3. And we've added in a 4th because we're starting to see some really great data. So the first thing is an email. And I'll tell you about the sequence in just a second, but let me walk you through each of the 4 parts. So an email that basically is going to say, dear first name, I know at one point you expressed interest in potentially enrolling little Johnny. Ideally, you have the child's first name that you can put in the email at our center. We know that life gets busy, so we wanted to send one more message to see if it might make sense to take a tour and or to have us answer any other additional questions you may have. Here's my direct phone number. So it's got an email. It's got a text message that basically paraphrases that. Dear, and you wouldn't even say dear in a text message. So the person's name is Michael. Michael, I know that you express interest in our center. You put in the center name. Are you still considering enrolling with us? ? This is more of a direct response, put someone on blast right out of the gates so that you can kind of clean up the list. So what we're doing with this list is we're also cleaning it. You might have a couple hundred people or 50 people or whatever the number is that you're like, I think they're going to enroll. But when you start sending these emails and text messages and the other 2 parts, you're going to find that 90+% are going to give you a no, which is fine. I'm more interested in those final 10%, but I can then clean up my database a bit. The third piece is a ringless voicemail, and it sounds something like this. Hi, this is Michael at ABC Childcare. I'm so sorry that I missed you. I know that you expressed interest in enrolling at our center at one point. I was just calling to see if you were still interested. I'm going to send you an email and a text message. Please feel free to reply to one of those if you're still interested. Look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. The important piece in that message is, I'm so sorry that I missed you, so that they know that it feels a little bit more authentic, like they actually did miss the call. And then the fourth piece is actually direct mail. We're doing a lot more direct mail than we ever have before. We're getting back into sending letters. We're getting back into sending what I call shock and awe packages, new enrollment kits, gifts. We're finding that the centers that are actually physically sending things in the mail, the response rates are starting to go through the roof. So those are the four pieces of this reactivation campaign. So anytime things are slow, to me, this is the perfect time to do it. Now you could say, well, Michael, shouldn't I wait until peak enrollment months? The answer is no. Why would you wait 6 months? The longer that someone is on your list, the staler they get. I need them to be getting communication from you. I need you to be constantly doing these reactivation campaigns. We're typically doing these campaigns once every single quarter, if not more. The objective is clean up your list and then drive a couple of enrollments from that list. So that's the first thing that I want you to do. The second thing I want you to execute is a referral campaign. So when times are slow, families are kind of getting into the new year, like you're out of that New Year's rush. We're not that close to spring break, so like we're in that lull right now. This is the perfect time to do a referral campaign. And if you've listened to the podcast before, you know that I like to do referral campaigns very, very differently. I like to put them together to where we're not just giving you a couple $100 off your tuition for the month, but rather a gift. I like to turn it into a fun contest. I like to make it public. I like to have signs at all my centers. I send emails, text messages. I make a big deal about it. Because one thing that I know to be true is that parents, and in particular moms, they like to be competitive. And if they see, well, this mom is already, whatever, she's on the leaderboard and she's referred 4 people and I've only referred 2 people, for example, like I like that competitive nature. What I like to do, though, is I give every single person, anyone that you refer that enrolls, you get XYZ. Again, I prefer XYZ not to just be money off their tuition. I want it to be a spa gift certificate, a weekend getaway, for example. I want it to be something interesting like that. But then I add another layer on top of this contest that maybe that family that refers the most, they win XYZ, and that prize is even bigger. Now you want to do this only if you know that parents are happy, like you don't have any reputation stuff going on, like you want to make sure that you're in a good spot to do it. But if you start with the reactivation campaign, you follow up with this referral campaign, and then you end with number 3, so it's kind of the trifecta, is a Google 5-star review campaign. These 5-star reviews on Google are literally worth their weight in gold. There are too many centers that I'm seeing that have 15 reviews. They're at a 4.0 or 4.3 or whatever the number is. Even they're at a 5.0. But they've been around for 30 years. I mean, they've probably had thousands of families in that amount of time. Maybe thousands is an overstatement. Let's say, no, it could be. Yeah, it would be thousands. Like if you got 100 enrollments, for example, or 100, even if you had 50 families. Like you're serving a ton of families. But we don't ask, and when we do, we almost feel bad for asking, but this is something that literally only takes a family 5 minutes or less. But you need to be, like everything, you've got to be strategic about it. You have to not just have it in a little small QR code at the front desk. I have big posters in my centers. Leave us a review. Now, I don't write, leave us a 5-star review. And then I say every single month, we do it where it's continuous, that you're then entered to win a prize. You can't say, if you leave a review, I'm going to give you something. You get entered to win a prize so that you're above the board. with Google's terms of service. When I'm doing a full-blown review campaign, this is where I'm going to be sending out an email, I'm sending out a text message, I might even do ringless voicemail and a direct mail piece. Now think about that. If your strategy for getting reviews has been you kind of indirectly ask, you have a little QR code that maybe is at the front desk, and that's it. And if you take it a step further and you send an email, a text message, a ringless voicemail, and a piece of direct mail asking for a review, and you incentivize with the chance to win something, imagine how many more reviews you're going to get. Now with this campaign, you have got to scrub your list a little bit. So don't just go and look at all your enrollments for the last 10 years. Take off families that disenrolled. If you had any problem families, you don't want to be messaging them because they will leave you the 1-star reviews. So ideally, you're only doing this review campaign for the families that are happy. The families that really, you believe that they're going to leave you a review. Now, if you have a lot of them, you might do this in batches. You might do it in batches over the next couple of weeks. You might send 50 but you watch it. Like if you send out 50 requests and you get 30 reviews, you might need to throttle it back a little bit. I mean, that would be an amazing problem to have, but we typically see about a 10% response rate. So if you send out 50 emails, ideally you're going to get 5 people that leave a review. We've seen it higher than that, but we tend to not ask too many times, but we usually will ask 2 to 3 times a year in this structured form. And then we're also doing the same thing where a couple of times a year, we've got this structured referral campaign. And so, well, Michael, why would I want to ask for so many things from our families? They're paying me. Well, why not? If you don't ask, it's the whole ask and you shall receive. What's the worst thing that could happen? They don't refer anyone and they don't leave a 5-star review. Okay. But unfortunately, centers, they get a little bit lax in doing these things. And then what ends up happening is a new center comes on the block. And I can tell you that unfortunately, there's a lot of centers that are doing things that are not ethical and they will get caught. Where it's a new center, but all of a sudden they have 300 5-star reviews. Not even open. That's a little suspicious to me. But unfortunately, for the non-savvy parent, they might look at yours and say, well, you've been around for 30 years, but you only have 17 reviews. They have 300. And that will actually sway them, even though if they knew a little bit more about how that worked or thought about it, how could this center already have 300 reviews and the door hasn't opened? But unfortunately, people aren't as savvy as they should be. So this is what you do when things are a little bit slower. Number 1, you do the reactivation campaign with an objective of you want to clean up your list of leads and shake a couple of tours loose and ultimately some enrollments. Number 2, you do a parent referral campaign. You make it into a contest. You give everyone a prize that someone ends up enrolling in your center, not just money off your tuition. And then you have a grand prize for whoever refers the most. And then number 3, you do this campaign, the Google 5-star review campaign. I always push to Google. I don't suggest pushing to Yelp or anywhere else. So to recap, you're going to execute these 3 things, and I like to do them in the order that I'm giving them to you. Number 1 is you're doing this reactivation campaign. The whole objective is to clean up your list of leads and to shake any potential enrollments loose. Ideally, you're going to drive at least a handful of enrollments. Number 2, you're going to do the parent referral campaign. Everyone that refers someone that ends up enrolling, you win a fun prize. Not money off your tuition, but something fun, meaningful, that is kind of Insta-worthy, so to speak. And ideally, you've got a grand prize for the person that refers the most. And then finally, you're going to do the 5-star Google campaign. You're going to go back and look at as many enrollments as you have. You're going to remove any of the families that disenrolled or people that you think wouldn't be a good fit. And you're going to send this out, email, text, voice blast, as well as direct mail. And you're going to get flooded with amazing reviews. Get out there, take some action the next month or two when things are a little bit slower to keep the train moving. As always, comment, like, share. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I'll see you next week.